you are helping people that were once in a position like yourself that was scared to say that they're a sickle cell or they're a sickle cell carrier. So if you can help and be the voice of reason for somebody else, I just think that, you know, this is probably the best platform that you could ever have to speak to people, because I know people that have sickle cell and are not as open as you are and are frightened to death to mention it. But I think that if you can be the voice for those that can't speak about it or are scared about it or feel like they can't be normal because you do things like go on holiday and like stuff like, you basically show people, do you know what? Yeah, I'm a sickle cell carrier, but I live my life to the best and I can still do what every other normal person does, because some people think that you can't do anything with it. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Good morning and welcome to a day in the life of Gilda. So it is currently about 10:30 in the morning. First things first, what I do with my day. Medicines first. Don't know if you can see. There is about 4, oh my gosh, hand movements. There was 4 tablets in there. Oh my gosh, there was 4. I'm only gonna take 3. I might as well take that one now because it's fallen out. This video, oh my days. Anyways, this is me. I'm gonna take those 4, and I'm also gonna take some paracetamol and ibuprofen. That is not in my box because this is PRN, which kind of means when you need it. Yes, I take my medicines with juice. I do not like water. It's really bad, I know. But yeah, I'll drink my meds with juice. I've also got my breakfast at the ready because some of these meds needs to be taken with food. Anyways, you're probably wondering why I am taking all of these medications. I have something called sickle cell anemia. Don't know if anyone knows what sickle cell anemia is. I'm sure some people do know, but some people probably don't. So in this video, I'll literally just show you my life, explain what sickle cell is and how you get it. What are you doing? Get out! Oh my days. Sorry about my little outburst, guys. My little sister is extremely annoying. Oh my gosh, I looked so crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna start again from the beginning. Hi guys, now that I'm finally ready, I can finally explain what sickle cell actually is. So a lot of people do know what sickle cell is, but a lot of people don't, or they're simply a little bit confused, or they don't know enough about what it actually is. A lot of people, when I ask, they say, yeah, I know sickle cell is a blood disease, and I'm like, yeah, but there's so much more to it, you know. So I thought I would explain what it is in a short, kind of simple way so that everybody understands. So what is sickle cell? Sickle cell is a blood disease. It is a disease which affects our red blood cells. Red blood cells are amazing. Everybody has red blood cells. They are vital to surviving. They are used to carry oxygen all around our body and carbon dioxide back into our lungs. Sickle cell is a disease which affects our hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a iron-rich protein which is found inside of our red blood cells. So sickle cell is also an inherited disease, which means you can't catch it, you are born with it. You have to inherit two sickle genes from your parents. You have to inherit one from mum and one from dad. When you inherit both of these genes, this then changes or causes our red blood cells to change shape. So red blood cells are usually soft, they're usually round, which makes it easy for them to pass through blood vessels, especially the smaller ones. But when you've inherited both of these sickle genes, this causes our red blood cells to change shape. So after maybe about 6 months of age, our red blood cells will start to change from like the normal soft round to being rigid and sticky and more like a crescent moon shape, like a C shape kind of thing. This does not mean that all of our red blood cells will change shape. Sometimes it's just some of them, sometimes it's most of them. So sometimes we will have normal red blood cells as well. But the problem, so when we inherit this gene and our red blood cells start to change shape, because they're now sticky and really rigid, they cannot pass through blood vessels as easily and transport oxygen. So they become clumped together and they get stuck, especially in the smaller blood vessels. This then blocks everything else to pass through these blood vessels. For example, the other cells, white blood cells, red blood cells, just blood. It just stops the blood flowing basically. And then this then causes problems because blood travels everywhere. It goes to our organs, it goes to our muscles, our tissues. So this then becomes an issue, and then when they clump together, this is when it starts to cause problems, and it can lead to something called a crisis. And then also because that certain area is deprived of oxygen, so that area becomes starved of oxygen, this can then lead to other complications, especially if it's like in a particular organ or something like that. And all this damage can then eventually lead to organ failure, which is why sickle cell is so bad. But yeah, so red blood cells, normal red blood cells usually last for about 120 days. Sickled cells usually last about 10 to 20 days. So this is a really big difference, guys. Really big. So you can imagine our body is constantly in overdrive, trying to reproduce and recreate these new red blood cells for us, just so we can get oxygen around our body. And then this causes other problems, for example, anemia, just because our red blood cells are constantly dying. But yeah, that pretty much in a nutshell is what sickle cell is. Good morning. So yesterday I went to bed with really bad back pain, which was kind of spreading around my back, but I didn't do anything about it. Today I just used my hot water bottle. Today I woke up and it is pretty much gone, but I've now got a tummy ache and I'm currently having a crisis, which is just not the best. chest. But and I've got a blocked nose at the same time. It's just pissing me off. But anyways, I'm gonna get ready, take some medicines, refill my hot water bottle, and explain to you guys what a crisis actually is. So, what is a sickle cell crisis? In short terms, and in simple terms, a sickle cell crisis is an episode of pain. This happens when sickled cells come together and block smaller blood vessels. And these blood vessels are used to carry and transport blood all around our bodies to certain organs, certain muscles, bones, and tissues. And then when they all clump together and get stuck, this causes an episode of pain. The pain can literally be from mild to severe, and it can be a sudden pain, it can be a gradual pain that you've kind of known's coming on for the last couple of days kind of thing, and then it can just go from mild to completely the other side of the scale and go to severe where you might need hospitalization. A sickle cell crisis also can, we don't know how long it's going to last for. It can last for minutes, it can last for hours, days, weeks, and months. This is not to say that the crisis is all happening in the same place. Sometimes multiple crises can happen around the body in different locations, because we just got to think about it. Blood goes everywhere in our body. Blood travels everywhere in our body. So wherever blood goes, a crisis can occur. So sometimes it can happen in your back, in your chest, arms, legs, tummy, head sometimes, like literally anywhere and everywhere, and everybody's very different as to where their usual crisis occurs. For example, my crisis usually occurs in my tummy, especially when I was a child. It was always in my tummy. Now it's more like my chest and my arms and my legs. But it does occur everywhere. So I've had crises in the back of my eyes, because when I've had an optician appointment, they found a scar which they noticed, which was from a previous crisis, but I never really noticed it. I don't remember. I don't even know how long it's been there. But anyways, regardless, a crisis can happen anywhere. Pain. So pain is the main thing, and our main treatment is to control our pain. So a lot of people have certain pain relief at home, but it just depends what you get prescribed. I'll do a whole video on like treatment and medications and pain relief and all of that, and different ways that you can manage a crisis. But painkillers is one of them, and stuff like hot water bottles can help sometimes, keeping warm, etc. But as I said, I'll do a whole new video on that. But that really is what a crisis is. Medicine cupboard. My shelves are at the top. So this is as I'm getting ready for work this evening, I'm currently doing night shifts. I'm quite happy. That is my last night. This is night 3 of 3. While I was getting ready for work, I feel really tired today, actually. But while I was getting ready, I thought it'd be a good idea to explain what anemia is. Everyone's always like, Gilda, you shouldn't be a nurse. Maybe you should go part-time. Maybe you should think about quitting just because of your anemia and your sickle cell. And it can be a bit frustrating. But yeah, Anemia is a condition in which your body lacks enough healthy red blood cells to carry oxygen to our tissues. There are different forms of anemia, and it can range from mild to severe, and then this will depend on treatment. So with those with sickle cell, our anemia can be pretty severe just because we do not have enough healthy red blood cells to carry oxygen around our body. This can then lead you to feeling tired, to feeling weak, which then just makes and sometimes be a hindrance throughout our day. For example, right now, me going to work, I feel really tired, but it's just something that you just got to live with and get on with it. There are certain treatments though. Some people have like blood transfusions and some people are on tablets, but I'll talk about treatments and everything like that and work in a whole new video.
Hi, I'm Dad. I'm AS.
This is Mum. She is AS.
Hi, I'm Manafa, and I recently just found out that I am AS.
My name is Gillian. I'm AS.
This is Joanna, and she is AA. This is Tyson. Tyson doesn't have sickle cell. He just likes to be involved.
Hello, my name is Nevaeh and I'm AS.
Hi guys, I'm back. I finished my night. I feel fresh. I feel energetic. It is literally amazing what some sleep can do. But yeah, I thought it'd be the perfect time to actually explain how you get sickle cell. As previously explained, sickle cell is an inherited disease, which means that it is passed down from your parents and you are born with it. Sickle cell is a disease which most commonly runs in individuals from an Afro/Caribbean background, but this does not mean that those from other ethnicities can't get sickle cell, because they can. So, sickle cell is an inherited disease. You have to inherit 2 of the sickle genes from your parents, one from mum and one from dad. Those who carry the sickle gene are known as a trait carrier. They carry the sickle cell trait. If you have a sickle cell trait, you are known as the letters AS. I have no idea where these letters came from. I tried to Google it and I couldn't find anything. So we're just going to go with it. So you are AS if you have a trait. Those who have a trait, it does not mean you have sickle cell. It just means that you carry the trait, which then can be passed on to your children. So anyways, mum has a trait, dad has a trait, which then passes down when they procreate, passes down to their child. There is a 1 in 4 chance, or a 25% chance, that baby will then come out with sickle cell. So 25% chance that baby will come out with sickle cell. They will be known as SS. There is a 50% chance that, this is based on a family of 4 by the way, there is a 50% chance that 2 out of 4 children will come out with a trait. So they'll be AS. And then there is an also 25% chance that baby will come out with nothing. They will be AA. They will have no trait whatsoever, nothing completely. This is not always the case. This is just probability. Is that the word? Probability. As you can see from my family, this is not the case. There's 5 of us. Yes, 1 of us has sickle cell. Yes, 1 of us has nothing, but 3 of us have a trait. But I know families of 4, where 3 of the children out of 4 have sickle cell, or 2 out of 4 have sickle cell. So it all very different, and it just depends on the family. It's unfortunate if more than 1 child in a family has sickle cell, but I mean, what can we do? It's like happened. Anyways, yeah, so that is how you get sickle cell. It is passed down from your parents, and there is a 25% chance that baby will come out with sickle cell if you both carry a trait. Hi guys, I forgot to mention a crucial part of my identity is that I am a twin. I'm a twin. I am a twin. People find it very strange and very odd that I have sickle cell and my twin doesn't. This can happen. We are not identical twins, so it's very possible. My twin has a trait though, but yeah, I happen to have the full sickle cell disease. But yeah, I thought I'd just let you know and add that in, that I'm a twin, and it is very possible that one can have sickle cell and one can't. Yeah. Gosh, I look so smart with my glasses. Anyways, guys, so it's not all doom and gloom. You can find out if you, firstly, have sickle cell trait or not, and if your partner carries sickle cell trait. And you can find out if your baby will have sickle cell or not before and after it's born. I know, a bit crazy, but there are lots of stuff out there that you can do. So firstly, if you have sickle cell trait, I would advise everyone to get tested, regardless if their parents have told them that they carry the trait or not. It's a simple blood test that you can go and ask for, like into your GP, and there's also sickle cell centres located around the place, which you can walk into and ask them for a sickle cell blood test. I would advise everyone, especially because my sister only recently found out that she is a carrier. So we've believed for 26 years that she is AA and has nothing. This is what our parents have told us. But a couple weeks ago, she found out that she's actually AS and has the trait. So we're all very shocked, like, oh my gosh, how did this happen? Especially as I have sickle cell. So it's very important because information can always get miscommunicated, especially like if it was so many years ago. So I'd always advise everyone to get rechecked or tested to see if they have a trait or not. If you are pregnant, you automatically get blood taken throughout your pregnancy, and if your results come back that you have a sickle cell trait, genetics will automatically get involved and test partner, just to see, because we need to know that if baby will possibly come out with sickle cell or not, to find out if your baby has sickle cell. So babies automatically at 5 days old, every baby gets something called a blood spot test or a newborn screening. This has been around for decades, and they've started testing babies for sickle cell in the late 1970s. So they take a bit of blood from baby at 5 days old and they test them for 9 congenital conditions. Sickle cell is one of the conditions that they test them for, which is great. So results will come back in a matter of time. They'll also let you know if baby has sickle cell or a trait or anything like that, which is good. There is something called prenatal testing, which will lead to prenatal diagnosis, which tests the baby before baby is even born. This depends on how many weeks you are. I only know this because my mum got tested with my younger siblings to find out if they were going to have sickle cell or not, because I have sickle cell. So it's good that there's that option available. It depends how many weeks you are, because it depends on how many weeks you are, which test they do. There's 2 different types of tests. One test, they have to take some tissue from the placenta, and then another test, they have to take some fluid, some amniotic fluid from you, which tests for the sickle cell gene and everything like that. But it just depends on how many weeks you are within your pregnancy, which test they'll go for, which is good. So there's that, and there's also something called PGD, which stands for pre-implantation genetic diagnosis. Oh, it's a mouthful, isn't it? Anyways, this is the genetic profiling of embryos. So it kind of works like IVF. It kind of works like that. So they'll take out some embryos from mum, and they will specifically pick which baby is AA, AS or SS, and for example they'll take the AA baby and implant it back into mum or whoever's carrying the baby. So it works a similar way. For example, if you wanted a boy or a girl, some people will do this and they'll look through the embryos, pick out which one's a boy or which one's a girl, and implant it back into mum or the carrier of the baby. So there is that that also helps as well. So there are options out there which help you figure out, firstly, if you are a carrier of the sickle cell trait, which is very important, and if your baby, once it's born, has a sickle cell trait or has the sickle cell disease, and before your baby is born, you can also find out if your baby possibly might come out with sickle cell or not. And you can also kind of, pick if your baby is going to come out with sickle cell or not. But yeah, there are ways out there, which is good. It's amazing that they do all that kind of stuff. So there's not really any excuse not to know if you have sickle cell or not, or a trait or not. But yeah.